very proud of my acts. I did suggest it for the poster for the picture, and was told that that would be illegal, which I found both complimentary and interesting at the same time. I just have a big fat ass.
There is a type of person who walks into a room and immediately makes everyone else feel like they are auditioning. Not because they said anything, not because they did anything, just because of the way they exist in the space. Jack Nicholson is that person, and he has been that person for 60 years without ever once appearing to try.
Granny drag. No, from Mr. Nicholson, sorry.
Friend Jim Lampley said the fact that you've had a life is an achievement, Jack. And, thank you, bro.
Most people spend their entire lives managing how they are perceived. Every word is filtered. Every reaction is calibrated. Every public appearance is a performance designed to produce a specific impression. Jack Nicholson has never done any of that. And the result is one of the most magnetic, unnerving, and completely unignorable presences in the history of Hollywood. Today we are going to break down the psychology behind why Jack Nicholson affects everyone around him the way he does, and why the thing that makes him so powerful is the one thing almost no human being on Earth is capable of. He genuinely does not care what you think.
I guess the only real danger here is after this I'll fall in love with myself. So,
Watch any Jack Nicholson interview from any decade, and you will notice something that is almost impossible to find anywhere else. He never manages his image. Other celebrities choose their words carefully. They stay on message. They redirect uncomfortable questions. They perform humility or gratitude or enthusiasm depending on what the moment requires. Nicholson just answers. Sometimes the answer is inappropriate. Sometimes it is uncomfortable. Sometimes it makes the interviewer visibly uncertain about where to look. He doesn't notice, or he doesn't care. And after 60 years of watching him, it is impossible to tell the difference. There is a psychological concept called unconditional self-regard, the complete absence of the internal filter that most people use to edit their behavior based on anticipated social judgment. Most people have an extremely active internal editor. Before they speak, before they act, before they react, the editor runs a check. Will this make me look bad? Will this cost me something? Will this change how they see me? Jack Nicholson's editor is either broken or was never installed. And the effect on every room he enters is immediate and total.
Work of any vintage. Because, you know, you embody your own work. Makes any, I would imagine makes anyone wince, or at least it should. I got to do a few things that I actually liked, and I must say that although I was in some of the most dreadful pictures of all time, that I was, and so were all the people I was working with, trying to do their best.
Here is something that most people miss about Jack Nicholson. The thing that makes him extraordinary on screen is the exact same thing that makes him extraordinary off it. Most actors disappear into their roles. They construct a character from the outside in, the voice, the physicality, the mannerisms, and then try to find the emotional truth from inside the construction. Nicholson works the other way. He finds the emotional truth first, and then lets the character form around it. What you see in every Jack Nicholson performance, the volatility, the charm, the sudden shifts between warmth and menace, is not a constructed character. It is Jack Nicholson's actual emotional range, redirected through a fictional lens. There is a psychological concept called authentic performance, where the boundary between the performer and the performance becomes so thin that the audience is no longer watching acting. They are watching a real person respond to an imaginary situation in real time. That is why you cannot look away from Jack Nicholson on screen, because some part of your brain knows that what you are watching is not pretend.
Let him come down, even though it's midnight.
That's not true, it's 8 o'clock.
And Lord knows what he's been doing. He's down here He has a fresh and sparkling breath. You see? Now, you'll have to excuse me now because I'm going to take a piss. Thank you.
Watch Jack Nicholson in any group setting, a press junket, an award show, a public appearance with other major celebrities. The dynamic is always the same. Everyone else is performing. Nicholson is observing. Everyone else is managing their image. Nicholson is watching them manage theirs. And occasionally, not always, not on cue, but when something actually interests him, he reacts. Genuinely, visibly, without calculation. There is a psychological concept called selective engagement, where a high-status individual reserves their full attention for only the things that genuinely earn it, and the rarity of that attention makes it the most valuable thing in the room. When Jack Nicholson laughs at your joke, it means your joke was actually funny. When Jack Nicholson leans forward, it means something you said was actually interesting. Because everyone in the room knows he would not perform either reaction. And that makes his genuine reactions worth more than anyone else's performance.
Just get rid of your camera tricks, what angles they shoot you from, all of that. It in the end creates an overall impression of aging in different ways, and this is the least vain performance I think I've ever given. No shadow under the chin, this kind of thing. But I think you find the mind of a character. Myself, I'm always after that, and really to do the movie that the director wants to do. Otherwise, it's not a muse. They're always very demanding in this area. I know from before I was a successful actor because I knew some of them and so forth. They don't want whoever you are, actually,
Jack, you seem to be like somebody who would know more than anybody else on any of your sets because you've been doing this so well and for so long. Do you take direction? Are you a force of nature on the set? Do you come with an idea of what you're going to do, and Alexander, you watch him do it? What is the measure of the collaboration here, I guess?
I know it's intuitive, but they write such a strong script. I understood sort of what it was about, and he directs very specifically, and on most scenes also.
Here is what almost nobody talks about when they talk about Jack Nicholson. He grew up not knowing who his father was. The woman he believed was his older sister was actually his mother. The woman he believed was his mother was actually his grandmother. He did not find this out until he was 37 years old, and both women were already dead. Sit with that for a moment. The foundational story of who you are, where you came from, who made you, was a lie. And the people who could have told you the truth chose to take it to their graves. There is a psychological concept called identity reconstruction, where a person who discovers a fundamental untruth at the core of their own story is forced to rebuild their sense of self from scratch, without the scaffolding most people rely on. Most people who go through this become either permanently destabilized or permanently unanchored from the need for external validation. Jack Nicholson became the second one. When the story you were given about yourself turns out to be fiction, you stop waiting for the world to tell you who you are. You decide for yourself. And the person who has decided for themselves, completely, irrevocably, without needing your confirmation, is the freest and most terrifying person in any room.
You just gotta stop. You stop taking meetings, you stop taking phone calls, and you live a life so that you can have something to give when the time comes to give it.
Explain to me why you have to do TV and...
Not good for the actor.
I think it's a conscious choice. I don't think he wants to be in your living room, apart from if he's at the Laker game. I don't know that he wants to be that friendly guy that you feel so close to on television.
No one really knows the real Jack anyway.
Television has this way of editing and moving things around, and you see it on this show and that show, and pretty soon you begin to not, you don't know exactly who or what or why you are, and I just felt if I kept that to an absolute minimum, I wouldn't be living with that the rest of my life. I don't like to see myself in trailers on television. It interrupts my evening.
Nicholson once said, "I don't want people to know what I'm actually like. It's not good for an actor to be known." And then he spent 60 years being one of the most known, most recognized, most studied public figures in the world. That is not a contradiction. That is a man who understood something most people never figure out. The version of you that the world sees is always a construction. The only question is whether you are the one doing the constructing or whether you handed that job to everyone else. Jack Nicholson never handed it to anyone. And that is why nobody in 60 years has ever been able to handle being in a room with him and feeling like the most important person there. That job was always taken. Next video we go inside someone whose power is the complete opposite of Nicholson's, where he is all surface, all presence, all visibility, all right there in front of you. Our next subject operates entirely in the space between words. You already know who it is.